Good morning, everyone. Good day. Another season, another chance to recognize our businesses in in our community. We have Miss Rita Pender with us, a young lady that have multiple entrepreneurships, and we want to hear some things about her today. Miss Pender, give me a synopsis of who you are.
Wow. Well, first of all, I wanted to say thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast. I am always excited to speak about what it is that's going on in the community and things that we're trying to help people to accomplish. And together we can do a lot, and we must be on the same page. So we formulate plans and get people in the right place, in the right space with the right people so they can move forward. So thank you so much for allowing me to be on your podcast. To say who I am, I believe Shaka Khan saying, I'm every woman. And my brother, I recently had a birthday. My brother was sharing some information. Thank you. And he was saying how I was always very active. It's funny how people see you when you don't see yourself in that way. And my family was sharing things about things that they saw in me from when they were very young to present time. And he said, you were always busy. You were always doing something. You had more push, more drive. And I used to sew. And he said, I remember you sewing and making things and falling asleep. But your drive, you would take a nap and pop right back up as if nothing ever happened and start sewing again. And that was so funny as a memory for for him to remember. And I do so many things that my sister calls me make a project. So I'm involved in a lot of things. I get ideas, and maybe that's where that make a project comes from. But whenever I see a need and I can help someone, I'm very much like you. You love helping people. And I think for me, that is my purpose on this planet is to serve and to help people when I can. It doesn't matter. If I know something that can help you, I know there's a hymnal that states if I can help someone along the way. And I'm like that, but it took me years to find out what my purpose was. And once I found out what it was, I can now operate in that. So I'm kind of a chameleon. I help wherever I can. If I see, like, I'm with the Black Chamber of Commerce, one of the South Florida Black Chamber of Commerce. There are several. And we make a difference with people who want to have a difference. And what does that mean? That means that if you are lacking in a business skill, we definitely want to be the persons that are able to help you or connect you with someone who is able to help you. And that's one of the pillars that we stand on in connecting people. And we're looking also future projects to bring in organizations that work with children because we understand that the children are our future. And working with that organization and teaching them different skills, the entrepreneurship side, the wealth building side, the investing side. And those are things that will keep them well rounded and have a different lifestyle than we lead.
Thank you. And that's a full rounded. You don't forget your future, but you help the past. That is, I like that. And you're giving me a desire to dig deeper into your organization because this is a village, a larger village than just a small community. And if one set is liking, it pulls the rest of us down. So we must always bring along and push forward. Thank you for that. But tell me something, Miss Pender. Why did you? I know you was telling me about your passion, but why did you pick South Florida business chambers, that industry?
Not a problem. With the South Florida, I grew up in Washington, D.C. That's my home, raised, educated there. And I fell in love with the weather. That's what brought me to South Florida. Quite honestly, I like snow, but I like to see snow when on my terms. I can go to Colorado and do the ski thing and the chalet and watch the pretty snow outside. But as long as I don't have to drive in it, I'm good. So South Florida is like being on vacation every day. You can go to the water and just, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Just the peace that it gives. And also because of, I know we have hurricanes here. That's one of the downsides. But on the upside, when it rains, I've never experienced it not being dreary all day long. And in
Mhm.
South Florida, you can drive here, you can drive over here. You can almost outrun the rain, or you see it coming and oh, not going that way. Let's try this way. And if you want to be in the rain, great. But if you don't, you have an option, unless we have those storms that are are over our area. So it wasn't a difficult choice. When I left, it was deep in snow and couldn't drive and manipulate through it. Some people do it and they do it well. I'm not one of them. And that's what brought me to South Florida.
But why the chambers, the Black
Well,
Chamber? Why did you pick that industry?
well, I believe that when you have people that are on the same wave, if I can say that, the same vibration, the same frequency, we're being put together for some reason. And I, several people had an experience with other chambers and they were not happy with them. And we came together out of similar experiences and we thought, you know what, let's just do this because we see what the need is. I had an opportunity and was with the Boca Chamber for 5 years. And due to immobility, I will go back. But I like that chamber. I like what they did. I liked how they did things. And I thought, you know what? We could do that too. I didn't see many people that looked like me on a consistent basis. And so I thought, well, there's got to be a reason why. Why aren't more people joining? And I believe that sometimes we don't want to admit what it is that we don't know. I've been in classes with former colleagues as an educator, and when we went to classes in the summer to keep up our educational units, I was the only one raising my hand and asking questions. And I looked around the room and I thought, am I the only one who doesn't understand? And very few people ask questions. So, of course, we're going to think, geez, I must be dumb, stupid. And no, it wasn't that at all. Because at the end of the 6 weeks, the teacher said, I'm sure glad you raised your hand and asked questions because we didn't understand either. And
Hmm.
I thought, why didn't why didn't you raise your hand? Yes, because otherwise you could be thinking something different than what I'm thinking. And that's why I always encourage my kids to, if you don't understand something, it doesn't matter what anybody else does. Make sure you raise your hand and ask. And I believe that, getting back to your question, that because people don't want to admit to what they don't understand, which is a sign of intelligence because you recognize that you don't, and you're there for a purpose. If you're there to get information, ask questions. And when you do that, you open the door for other people as well to feel comfortable about doing that. Oh, or thinking, oh, you know what? I didn't understand that either. And so I think that mindset of not wanting to appear that way was something that they weren't comfortable with. And I noticed too in school that when kids will form groups based on ethnicities, nobody has to tell you to go over there. You just naturally generate. Or when you're in an event and you see people that look like you automatically, hey, or if you're in a familiar place or unfamiliar place and you see people that look like you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. How long have you been here? What do you do? Where are you located? And it's really exciting. I went to the All Black National Convention, which was in Orlando this year, and I'm not sure where it's going to be this year, but it was amazing how many. people on the same plane, moving. They were all entrepreneurs, seeking information, seeking to connect the dots. And what do you do? Because we're so spread out that it's like when you want to call someone for business, you're like, who do you call? Do you, I was looking for a vet. There was no black vet in Palm Beach County. And that made me start thinking there are other people that perhaps kids can go into that side of medicine, in the veterinary science. And I'm thinking, well, why is that? Are they not seeing role models? But because I know in South Florida, it's very diverse, that you don't see people coming together like that. And when I met three other individuals, Oliver Brown, Darnell, Darnell Gardner, and Kanisha Taylor. And they're both in different backgrounds, different industries. And we had a conversation, and we were both on the same plane that we need to help each other to build our own businesses, because we look at other areas. We look at Chinatown. There's a Chinatown in Washington. There's a Chinatown in Florida. They all work to keep money within that community. And Black people, we have a tendency to, money goes here, over here, over here, over here, and it doesn't build the wealth that other communities have built. The history behind that, there are various theories, but this is a way for us to connect and to build that wealth, so that when we have the right information and the right tools and people who are credible in what they do business-wise, we're able to fill that gap and exchange products and services. Because you remember Black Wall Street, they built that, and they built that years and years and years ago. Can we do that today? Of course we can. We just have to have professional people that have the information that we need in order to build that structure, and build it. It's just that simple. I'm not saying that it's simple to do. I'm saying when you have a system or a process in place with the right people who can fit the puzzle pieces that you need, then you have a well-rounded organization that can move, because they are making plans to move in a direction. Almost like the 300, that movie that was called The 300. They could defeat anyone because they had a plan and they moved forward with that plan, and they had committed people. And when you have that in place, you have the commitment, you have people that are professional in their own right, and people who don't have any, agendas, no hidden agendas. And that's what's needed. It doesn't matter about who's in charge, because we're working as a group. Are we going to have disagreements? Yes. Are we going to have differences in opinion? Yes. And that's okay, but everybody has the right to be heard. And then from that, you know what? I didn't think about that. That's a great point. But sometimes it's what's going to be the betterment for the whole. And somebody's going to lose in what it is their belief is at some point or another. It's inevitable. It's just the way life is. So I think when you have the commitment from people who understand the process of systems in place, and also people who are willing to not have the big head, so to speak, and understand that we're doing this for the benefit of the whole. And I believe through that educational process and bringing in like-minded people, that you can move forward, and that we can move forward in what it is that we have to do with our business.
Thank you so much. It's very inspiring. And I hope that those that have the opportunity to hear you speak will be inspired to join and be a part of the chamber.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. How long, since the length of time of this, the Black Chamber, when was it established, and how is the growth of your membership?
We established in 2022. We have submitted our documents to be approved, but definitely because of what's going on with COVID, it's taking a whole lot longer to have that in place. But we do have the credentials that we need. We just need them to be formalized. We started out as a virtual chamber in this space, and we connect with people that we already know, businesses. We reach out to business owners and to find what is it that they need. And of course, it's business. We are part of the National Black Chamber of Commerce, and they will give us information regarding contracts and things that are available to us, different seminars, different platforms. They recently had, actually Monday, they had the Florida Black Chamber Day, and chambers from across Florida were able to go to Tallahassee, meet with some of the politicians that were there. And from what I understand, it was a great event. One of our directors, Oliver Brown, was in attendance, and he was just blown away by the things that are coming. He hasn't briefed us yet, but he's going to do that at our next meeting. And he's giving us the information that he's bringing back. He also sent us some videos while he was there, recording what it is that they were discussing and some very valid points that were brought up. It was an all-day event, and he met lots of people from South Florida, from Broward County, that were involved in the chamber as well. And so our platform evolved to the virtual space. And on the first Wednesday, we do the first and third Wednesday. On the first Wednesday, we have an educational platform where we invite people that speak about their business, what it is they do, what they do in the community. And it's just so much information, things that you don't know, things that you never thought of. And just to understand that we have people that look like us that we can patronize. And guess what? Then we all win. It's a win-win situation because we understand that we have situations that nobody else has. Things happen in this life in South Florida, in Washington. It's just a little bit different. And when you have people that understand, and which is my point about the kids when they connect with each other, when they're very young, kindergarten, preschool, kids don't care. But as they get older, middle school, they start moving themselves into groups that understand what it's like to be the person that they are. So if you're in a Hispanic circle and you may have Hispanic friends and you understand some of their holidays, you understand the family life, you understand the traditions that they have. If you have Jewish friends, you understand that their celebration is not necessarily Christmas. It can be, but they have Hanukkah and other events that they participate in. And understanding that is great in terms of communicating with people and understanding the platform that they come from. But we are a little bit different in terms of how we were brought here. Our traditions, we had to assimilate. And it's almost like, what do you do? Do you go here? Do you do this? Do you do that? But we do have one commonality, and that is we are melanated people. And we understand our condition, whereby others may not. And it's only through educating people and maybe putting them in that position. I know they did an experiment. It was called Brown Eyes, Blue Eyes. And it was done in an elementary school. And that experiment was amazing in terms of eye-opening of how things are done, how people are treated, that, oh, you've got brown eyes, you must be really, really smart. Can you imagine telling a kid that and saying, oh, you're one of the brightest souls on the planet because we just know, because you're the brown eyes, and the brown eyes are so smart. And what does that plant within your mind is that if I don't have brown eyes, I'm not really smart. And that's done through our skin color, because everybody else can walk around with not skin color like ours and can be totally accepted. If they open their mouth, then they'll know that, oh, you have an accent, so you must be from a different country. But it's not like walking down a street and being a melanated person and being pointed out, whereby if you don't have melanated complexions, then guess what? Then people don't know who you are. You're just assumed to be whatever the color of your skin is. So I believe that with what we're doing, that we can help people feel comfortable in their own skin. Because let's just say if there's a contract that's given and you are able to apply for that contract, sometimes it's who you know and not what you know. And sometimes you have to fight for what it is that you should rightfully have. And that's where we come in. We go in and we question politicians about why is it that if we're entitled to 3% of the contracts that you have that are millions and billions of dollars, why don't I see people that look like me that are receiving those contracts? There, it could be that buddy system. Not exactly sure. It could be that perhaps we didn't have our paperwork in order. Maybe we didn't have our permission to be in business, that building code certificate, whatever it is, or the license to do business. Maybe that's a part of why you didn't. I remember speaking with some of the accountants, and they were saying how many people, how many Black people had applied for this PPP, and in relation to the COVID, and they weren't able to qualify. But it was because they didn't have their documents in order. And we have to understand that as a people, I know we're brilliant and we're so smart, but sometimes you've got to go to people who are the experts to know. And there's always someone who looks like you or, who doesn't look like you, who has that information that they've acquired over the years. And because they have input that information, we have to make sure that we reach out to them so that we understand that they had a price to pay to get that knowledge, whether it took them 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, or more. That's their area of expertise. That should be paid for. That means something. It's just like you don't give away your information for free, that you have classes and people calling you every day unless you're in that position to do so, to get the information that you have. But we have to network and we have to come together to find those individuals that have the information that we need. And sometimes you can get it through a webinar. Sometimes you don't know what to ask, but in the webinar, it gives you more information. And then you can say, you know what? I needed to know that. I need to connect with that person because they have the information that I need. And that's what we try to do. We just try to give that information to people to help them along the way.
So much. Now, I would like for you to advertise. I know you spoke about your business, your passion, your baby, South Florida, Black Chamber. But I would like for you to advertise. Tell us something that is coming up in your organization.
As I explained earlier, we have 2 events. I talked about the first Wednesday event of every month, which is educational. And then we have the third Wednesday of every month, where we actually Zoom together, as with our first event, the first Wednesday of the month. They're both Zoom platforms, and we invite business owners to come in and share what it is that they do. If I need for example, there was one of the most interesting ones that I like because I do like to cook. And there was a young lady, she's Haitian, and she has a series of kitchens that she rents out. And the kitchens, think about one building, and then you have 6 or 7 kitchens within that. They're all stainless steel. And you might think, well, what do you do with that? Most people who are entrepreneurs start their businesses part-time and then they work to full-time. What people do is they move into that facility on the weekends and they cook, provide meals. You drive up and they put their information on Facebook. You order what you want. When you come there, we'll bring it to your car. And my husband and I actually went down there because someone was doing fried ice cream. And we thought, that's interesting. And it was so cool, super fun. And it was in Fort Lauderdale, and we drove down there. We pre-ordered, and by the time we got there, it was ready, and it was delicious. There was another business that was there. He had different kinds of barbecue food, and of course, greens and baked beans, corn, that kind of stuff. And it was so cool and helping them. Now, here's the funny part. Even though they started at that kitchen, they now have opened their own restaurant. And that afforded them, yes, 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 that afforded them the ability to do that. But that was an idea that she had and she created. I don't know where she got it from. It is absolutely, the kitchen is absolutely beautiful, stunning. It's clean, it's all stainless steel, and you have your own workstations where you can work. So whichever business is in there, if you are a baker and you wanted to bake cupcakes and you have maybe you have pre-orders and you're delivering, whatever it is, you have that facility that's there, that's professional, that you can work towards. And that's one of the things that happens when we network. We find out what other people do. We've met so many people, and just trying to connect them and making those partnerships, because you know someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone. And we've started, this is our second event live, and we had our first event in West Palm Beach. Our second event that's coming up February the 11th, it's from 6 to 8 p.m. It's going to be in Port St. Lucie, and it's called Vibe Lounge. Now, the Vibe Lounge is spelled a little bit differently than what you would expect. It's called Vibes, V as in Victor, Y, B as in boy, Z. It's a creative way of spelling vibes. And it's the Vibes Lounge. It's going to be at, the address would be 2096 Courtyard Circle in Port St. Lucie. That's 2096 Northwest Courtyard Circle in Port St. Lucie. We do, in the attires business casual, we do require that you wear your mask, social distancing, and bring your business cards or your digital business cards. And we'll have a drawing. We usually have a drawing. Now, I have to tell you, we had a gift basket at our first one, and there was a young lady that was there who was a model, and she participated in the drawing, and the drawing was free, and she gave the basket to someone who came as far as the west coast of Florida, and they came because there was no Black Chamber in their area. So they drove 3 hours to be at our event, and it was a husband and wife who were in the trucking industry. And when she won the basket, she said, I want to give this to the couple that came the 3 miles from the west coast of Florida. And, you know, she just stole my heart, because a lot of people would not have done that. And she did. And so these are the kinds of things that you find out about people. I didn't have to ask her. She just did it out of the kindness of her heart. And let me tell you, the people that were the recipients, they were so touched. And I think everybody was touched, because that's something that people don't do.